live stream. Just checking to make sure it's getting uploaded to the channel. Let's see.
We gotta try that Zen breathing stuff. I do that pretty often, actually. Like if I'm ever like, too anxious or something, I'd say
No,
there's
I
definitely
think,
some
yeah.
merit to it.
No, I even just trying that, I was like, I mean, it's not like crazy anxiety, but just when you're like a little like tense,
Yep, yep.
nothing too crazy. It's like,
And it's a lot harder than you
All
would
right,
think.
we are
Like you were
live.
saying. Are we live?
We are
All
live.
right. Hello,
we're
hello,
live.
hello.
Oh,
Cedric,
woo,
Tom. Good to be on here. Good to be
Thomas.
talking to you guys. This is our first official book discussion that will be recorded. We did two earlier, wasted about 4 hours of our life. We'll never get them back, but we
What?
spent
No, no,
it
no, no, no.
together
We spent those 4 hours practicing for this
practicing.
moment.
Yes.
We had to
Yes.
put in that time, put in those hours, throw back
Yep.
to outliers.
Mhm.
The OG subscribers, remember to subscribe
They saw
to
it.
the like button. Subscribing to the like button is a
Subscribe to the
mandatory
like
thing
button.
to be part of this
Anyone
club.
watching
Just
this?
remember that. And
That's right.
subscribing to the subscribe button too. So
That's
there's
right.
2 subscriptions.
And don't forget that alert button. You got 3 buttons to
Uh-huh.
push.
Oh, I
A lot of
forgot.
people
Thank you,
don't know
Tom.
about
Thank you.
Alert
that, but
button.
yeah,
There
you
you go.
subscribe to that like button, baby, and you'll see
And
us.
then,
You'll see our glorious mugs every day. We're
and then
all
please
beautiful,
comment. We
mostly
will read
Tom.
them, and we will all respond. We will all independently respond to your comment if you do comment on
Well,
the video.
I
For
mean,
now,
Cedric, I don't know. For
if we
now,
if we
yeah,
get one
split
real
split
comment,
once.
I'll be pretty hyped. I'm gonna be honest.
After 10 comments, there's you guys. You're rolling the dice, so you definitely want to be the first 10. We're gonna get so many
Yeah.
comments,
So
dude.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
excited.
I mean, yeah, we'll try to get to the first 1 million. So if we can get a 1 million comments, we'll,
Million comments. Tim Pool
yeah,
doesn't even get
we'll
a
do our
million comments.
best.
That's a
We'd be
lot of
number one on YouTube if we could get a million comments.
Dude, we're gonna be number one.
YouTube would just
I'm
rank
pretty
us
pumped.
so high.
I'm pretty
Mark,
excited,
mark,
dude.
mark
We're
this
reading Zen
video
in the
for when we
martial
make
arts.
it big, right? Exactly.
That's right. Well, we're already big. People just haven't found us yet, and once
Big.
they do, they'll realize, wow, those guys are
At
big
least our
from the
egos
start.
are.
No, that is the way.
All right, Matt, you
What
want
are
to
you
introduce
talking
this
about?
book?
I am the humblest guy I know, and yes, we will get into the book. So, introducing the book, the one we're discussing today and on Sunday. This is going to be a two-parter because it's a pretty relatively short book. It's called Zen and the Martial Arts, written by Joe Hyams. We were all discussing how to pronounce his last name earlier. We're going to settle on Hyams. If it's Hyams, Hyams sounds better to me, so that's what we're going with. Anyway, he was a Hollywood columnist way back in, gosh, I think the 60s, 70s, and he got into martial arts. He said in the book, in the very beginning, that what he would do is he would interview all these celebrities. And he said he was always jealous of them because they were very successful people. And he would kind of jab at them and try to get something, from them, from some kind of emotional reaction that he could put in the headline. And he did that once with some guy. Unfortunately, I don't remember his name, but the guy's like, well, it sounds like you could use some martial arts. It sounds like you could kind of calm that temper a little bit. And so that started this guy's journey. He learned a bunch of different martial arts, Aikido. He learned Wing Chun from Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee taught this guy. That was probably my favorite part of the book when he was talking about Bruce Lee. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But the big thing is that everyone thinks that martial arts is just physical, right? You're super fast, you're strong, you can handle yourself. But what the whole point of this book is that there's a second side to martial arts, and it's Zen. It's a Zen mentality that you get. It comes from a lot of discipline, a lot of understanding of how to deal with certain situations, how to deal with other people in these situations. And it's I guess it's a great way to base your life off of martial arts. That's why they say, if you want to be successful, you got to use two things, your body and your mind. So, anyways, that's a little prelude to the book. My name is Matt. It's very nice to meet you guys. Tom, you introduce yourself.
So yeah, Thomas here. We got a little Culture Club YouTube channel going on here. I'm super thrilled to be getting on this journey with you guys and review books, try to add some positive takes onto our rather toxic culture today, and get a little bit of perspective on life through literature. So I'm excited to start the off here with a little bit of Asian Zen teachings and martial arts, and a book that I never would have actually considered until you guys brought it up, and I'm very
Yep.
excited about this title and the writer. He was fantastic. I actually learned a lot from him. Fantastic writer. So yeah, I'm excited to get started with you guys and discuss the book. Cedric.
Oh, yeah. So yeah, thank you for that, Tom. We're all excited to have Tom on the team, on the club. He's
That's right.
part of the club. Everybody else,
Very
join the club.
dashing.
Subscribe to the like
Very
button.
dashing.
Everybody knows. So yeah, I'm also excited to read this. I would say the credit goes to Matt. This is definitely Matt's idea. I wouldn't have read this either. Like the extent to like kind of the martial arts Asian like thinking I've got is like
Well,
Art of
okay,
War,
now
and that's it.
I gotta stop you guys. I mean, martial arts, that's very stereotypical Asian. There's Brazilian jiu-jitsu. He was talking about a lot of his masters were in Africa, and so it was either southern or northern Africa. I mean, martial arts is all over the world, right? But a lot of the stuff he talked about was from some Asian philosophy. So I did have to preface that because it is kind of all encompassing. And that's, I guess, something else that people don't think about.
Yeah, that is fair. I mean, I guess jiu-jitsu is one of the most popular things, and it's Brazilian.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, yeah. You really do forget that, especially just the name jiu-jitsu sounds like not Brazilian.
Yeah, right. But then
Yeah,
you put
it don't.
Brazilian in
Oh.
front of it, and you're like, oh, that makes total sense. Does to me.
I mean, it definitely almost feels like karate, but also it's definitely not karate at all.
Well, isn't it grappling? I don't know. We're
Yeah, it's
gonna
all
butcher.
grappling.
We're not experts, so make fun of us for this. But I thought because Joe Rogan talks about that a lot, it's like
Yeah, it's
grappling, right?
wrestling. Yep.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Yeah, I was telling you
Yeah.
guys, I was watching. I was watching. I don't know about you guys, but reading this book really makes me want to get into martial arts. Like I'm just like, I want to do one of them. And like I told you, so we're going to talk about this a little later on, but the author was talking about Aikido. Aikido is a form of Japanese martial arts in which you're kind of going with the flow and you're not really forcing yourself on other people. You're kind of making them fight themselves in a way by kind of turning and twisting, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But I was watching on YouTube an Aikido master today, and a few of them, and it was like Aikido versus MMA fighters, and I was like, huh, I wonder how these guys are gonna do, because I was like, one of them's like, new age. MMA is definitely a little newer age. It's a mix, right? Mixed martial arts, and Aikido's like old fashioned, and it's they've done it for many years. And I watched it, and it was like a 5 minute video, and the Aikido guy got his ass kicked. Like it was just, it was just like that. So, yeah, I mean, you definitely got your different strengths for each of them, but I think the important thing to take from martial arts is each one of them teaches you specific life lessons, right? And that's what the book's about, and that's what Joe Hyams is talking about. Each one of them, he learned something new from. So. I don't know if you guys want to preface any more. Otherwise, we can kind of just get into this book.
Let's get into it.
Oh. Yeah, let's talk.
Get into it. So, first thing he talks about, the first chapter, I guess you could call it, called Empty Your Cup. This one was pretty big for me, man. I feel like, especially in where we live in America, I can only speak for Americans and what I see around me and just this nation. I feel like we've got pretty big egos. We're all pretty, we talk ourselves up, and what he was talking about, empty your cup, was pretty incredible. So I'll preface it a little bit. The author Joe, he met Bruce Lee, right? He trained under Ed Parker, who, do you guys know what Ed Parker did? He was a Hawaiian master. Do you guys remember what the martial art was that he did off the top of your head?
Not specifically. No.
Okay, well maybe we'll find that sometime. But this guy Ed was holding a martial arts, I think it was a demonstration, and Bruce Lee showed up, and so the author was like, "Wow, that guy's incredible." So he went and he trained under him, and Bruce told him, he said, "Okay, well, if you want to train under me, let's see what you got. Do you have any past experience?" The guy said, "Yeah." He's like, "Okay, show me what you got." And so he went through some of his old trainings and exercises. And Bruce said, "Oh, that's pretty good." He said, "So you realize you're going to have to forget everything that you've learned, right, to start?" And he goes like, "No, I didn't know that." And so he told the story about the cup. You guys want to go into the story about the cup? You remember what he was talking about, pouring it over? I thought that was pretty powerful.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
So the story goes that a kind of a young upstart who thinks he knows everything about the world approaches a master with ideas and that he basically already knows everything. And the master makes a demonstration essentially like, give me your cup. And the master just keeps pouring water to the point where it's just overflowing and overflowing. And the young upstart was just like, "What are you doing? Like, this makes no sense." He's like, "Your mind is full of ideas. You can't learn anymore if you already feel that you think you already know everything. You have to empty your cup so you can then learn anew and break things down and restructure." And so that was kind of the lesson was you need to empty your cup so you don't have any bias and you're fully committed to learning rather than filled with a mix of ideas that compete against each other and make you a toxic, overflowing individual.
Yeah. Uh, uh, what I kind of got from that was, I mean, exactly what Tom's saying is, it's definitely once you, and it's not even the idea that you would even have too much knowledge. It's just when your cup is only so big and you make it only so big and you feel as though your cup has all the knowledge, you know everything, you're not open to anything else, and then it causes it to be overflow. But if you're open to any
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, actually asking questions, actually seeing value in what people are saying, even if maybe you might be objectively smarter than them or whatever, you're not a master, you don't know everything. Then you're open and actually your cup grows. You can take on more and learn more, and it's just a snowball
Yep.
effect. So
Yep. Yeah, and that's definitely powerful, man. If you're at the top, you can't take any more water in. No,
yeah,
I think actually, so that's definitely something that's I didn't actually think about the cup growing. You definitely want a bigger cup, right? But I guess if you were to compare a growing cup to say a plant, maybe you got to start slow and you got to consistently pour water in it, right? So that it consistently grows. I could see a growing cup like that. But the important thing is you never want it to overflow. You never want it to be too top. The only way for it to be at the top and overflow are just you're never going to learn
yeah.
anything if you never listen to other people.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And it's just like, yeah, all the same water stays in, and all the water that's coming in goes out.
Yep.
It's
No one
just
likes stagnant water except for Tom. So he'll
Tom is
stay with
actually
that.
amazing. Tom's literally the best. I'm just saying, he's number one in the club, greatest
That's,
addition. Whoop,
he
whoop.
looks the best. He's got a nice suit on.
Thank
I
you.
I
know,
like.
I know. I didn't even wear my sport coat today.
Freshly tailored. So I'm thrilled about it.
Looks sweet, dude. How many of those suits do you have?
I have now 4 full suits.
Nice.
Yeah, 3 Italian suits and 1 American. So
Ooh. Mm.
yeah, I'm pretty hyped on it. But in today's culture, it just kind of extrapolating this a bit. Um, we live in an era of, especially social media, tons of know-it-alls who can't possibly fathom that there is an alternative way of looking at things. What
Oh,
are
is
some
this
of,
going back to the cup? This is going back to the cup
going
thing
back to the
for the
cup? Yeah.
suits.
Yeah.
Because I could relate it to the suits too. They're like, I only want American suits, but they're like, no, no, no. Look at it differently. Step back, they're Italian ones too. You go, whoa, they're so cool. I could
I
see,
want like a Japanese made suit. Very
yeah,
nice
that'd be cool.
Japanese made suit. That would be good.
Cedric, given your
Tom, we
size, you have to
interrupted
go
you.
there specifically to get a suit like that done.
Oh, it would be so. I want to go to Japan so bad because they would just stare at me. It was hilarious. Oh, for
Oh,
reference, I'm really big for anybody who's watching. Like I'm like the kind of big. Like if you saw me and you started talking to me, you'd be like, So like, how tall are you? Like, would be the first question you'd ask me.
Uh,
So
Sitter's pretty tall, dude. You got to be like those guys who have the cards that say like, "Yes, I'm 6'7". No, I didn't play basketball. Yes, I played football. And then go on. I thought that was pretty funny. I saw that on like a meme.
yeah, I never liked those guys though. So message to all tall people: what you do is, if someone asks you how tall he is, if it's the first time they've ever asked you, you respectfully say how tall you are. And
Yes.
if they make a joke about it and they're trying to be funny and they think that they're really witty and smart, and it's the first time they've ever interacted with you, you go with it.
Yep.
But on the second time, that's when you say something. Because the first time, you let them have the experience. They think that they're super funny. They think it's original. They don't
It's
realize that you
important.
get that all the time.
Yep.
Uh, and so you just go with it. Like, and
Hmm.
they think you're awesome, and they won't ever comment on again this they were this very nice tall person. Um, but the second
Tall
time,
people
that's
are
like, hey,
generally
bro,
not.
I'm just tall, dude. It's not that serious. Like, calm it down. uh,
How's the view up here? I don't know. How's the view down there? You tell me. We clearly
oh,
have
I do
different
love doing
points of
that.
view.
People ask me, "Oh, how tall are you?" And I'll be like, "Oh, how tall are you?"
Yeah. Different
oh,
points of view,
I'm
man.
like,
But
yeah.
But see, that's the thing, and even so, kind of wrapping it back to the book. And Tom, I'll delegate back to you when I finish this point. But even in that sense, man, I mean, you may not realize it, you may not think about it, but people are still thinking about themselves, and that's why they keep bringing up, oh, well, how tall are you? It might be because maybe they feel a little insecure because they're not that tall, and they're like, wow, I wish I could be tall. I can't tell you the amount of people I met who unfortunately, genetics are they're a little smaller, and they're like, oh well, God, I wish I could reach the top shelf, and again, you just kind of got to accept that everyone's a little different, accept that we all have different experiences, and just because you're tall, you're not different, but we do have different experiences, and empty that cup, fill in that experience from that tall guy, and be so much better for it. Tom, please, go into what you were saying.
well,
You want
I
to
was curious about applying the cup metaphor to social media today, and
yes.
how to kind of cool down our culture here, and with this, with this metaphor, like how could we
Yes.
possibly apply this and to help cool down tensions and apply it to the culture writ large.
Culture.
Yeah. Culture
Very
club.
interesting. We are the Culture Club. We are the Sterling's Culture Club. This is Sterling, and we are the
We are
Sterlingettes.
Sterling. I feel like we are Sterling.
I like mine better. That's Sterling. We are the Sterlingettes, and we form the
The
band.
Sterling Nets.
We
Love
Okay,
it.
form
we can be the Sterling. Be
How
like
does that
Ringo in the
apply?
Beatles.
How?
I love
Well,
Ringo.
so Tom, again, you could kind of relate it to my. I was thinking back on my whole tall versus shorter person. It really wasn't that good an analogy. But what I will say that was strong with it is that everyone is very egocentric. It seems it, especially in the Western culture, and social media definitely does not help that out at all. Because I've told you guys it's pretty incredible. If you really study people and you really study the human body, how fast it adapts. How it adapts to certain situations. Right? I was telling you about that guy who was on the Joe Rogan show. He was an astronaut. He went up into space, and he said the first night he was there, he woke up in the middle of the night. He felt like he was standing on his head. He said the reason why is because all the blood rushed from his legs to his head. The reason why that happened is because gravity. We use our legs, so we need the blood down there. And he was saying, without gravity, there's no reason for the blood to go down there, so it rushes to your head. And so that's why those guys had to, work out every day. They had to maintain their bone density, their muscle mass, so that when they went back down to earth, they could actually walk. But what's incredible about that is, again, how fast the human body adapts. So, in terms of ego in our reality, I think I think social media is definitely warping our realities. It's definitely our body and our mind is adapting to this world that we think is real, which is social media. And in that world, everything is perfect but you. Everyone looks beautiful but you, and everyone gets a bunch of likes but you. And what that does, even though you might say, oh well, I like seeing people, and I don't care how I look, I mean, it definitely affects you. You can't fight that. It's human nature to try to compete and to look good and to feel wanted and needed. That's just human nature, right? We all want to exist in this world. We all want to be understood. And we're living in this fake world with social media that's just hyper inflating that need to be wanted. And I mean, the repercussions are awful. So if you kind of step away from that, and I think that maybe stepping away from that is a form of emptying your cup, and you try to experience something outside of that, you fill up your cup with different experiences, with different there's a lot more to life than social media is what I'm trying to get at. And until you step away, you're gonna be stuck in it. You're gonna be overflowing. That's
Yeah,
my
gotta empty that
interpretation.
cup. So how do we go about emptying a cup today? What's the process, especially from this book, that we need to go through to empty our cup and reset ourselves? What needs to be done?
Um.
Well, it
Cedric?
depends on
Uh.
what's in it. Like
Yeah.
this one,
So
I
what
emptied pretty slowly.
I would say it's like it's almost like an arrogant feeling. It's like just being open to potentially having a different idea. I think is all it takes. It's just like looking at what someone's saying and seeing value in what they're saying. Whether you
Hmm.
think, it's just seeing value in it. I think is all it takes to open your cup. It's like when you hear someone say some opinion, just seeing that that opinion has value. You don't have to agree with it, but just seeing the value. Um,
Yep.
and I think that's all it takes. It's like once you see the value, then you're like, oh, I could see how maybe that does work. Maybe you don't do
How
it,
it
but you
works.
could see how
Yep.
maybe like someone gives you advice or something. You could see how that maybe could work for someone, and see value in it. Doesn't mean you have to fucking do it. That just means you see value
Yep.
in it. So now you have something stored away in your head that maybe it'll work for someone else. Maybe it will apply to you someday. But currently it
Yep.
doesn't. But since your cup was open, you didn't just go, oh yeah, oh all right, boom. Didn't even listen to it. Didn't even give it a chance. And it was just that
Hmm.
openness, just that willingness to even have a change of idea. You don't have to believe it, but you could at least be willing to see value in it, and that it could potentially bring you greater knowledge.
But yeah, so what happens when you do have that willingness, though? When you do kind of open up your mind and say, hey, maybe there are other ideas.
Then you, I would say, just start to think even more and gain even more insight and see even more connections. Whether whatever that thing that's coming in is actually giving you a whole bunch of value, I feel like at least internally you're starting to make other connections because you just open yourself up to other possibilities.
Yep.
And then also it's like you can't like you real honestly to Matt's point that like we've talked about earlier, it's like the idea of new ideas. It's like everything is still related. Like I'm not saying it isn't. So exposing yourself to new stuff constantly will have you have more related ideas, which then could help you potentially create something different or see a new reality or see what's possible because other people have already done it. If someone's
Yeah.
walked through the door already, it's a lot easier to go through it yourself.
You know what? That's a huge issue people have, I think. I think, again, that's part of the whole ego thing. We all want to do everything ourselves. We all want to do everything ourselves. I met a guy once, I was golfing, and the guy was starting his own company. And, we were drinking after the round. It was actually later at night. And he told me, he said, hey, you want to know the secret, to be an entrepreneur, to be successful? He said, you got to put your ego aside. He said, find other people that are good at things that you're not good at and have them do what they're good at. And then you just work with them, manage them, and utilize enough people that are good at individual tasks to create something great. But you got to take your inherent need to try to do it yourself out of the equation. And that's what he was saying. That's what he was saying. We'll see what happens with his business. I don't know what exactly he's doing now, but I mean, what he was saying is definitely got some merit to it. You definitely want to stay open. You definitely want to keep that cup empty through Bruce Lee. Yep. So, what do you guys think? I think we went into that subject quite a bit. I think 11 more subjects to talk to. If it's just like that one, I mean, I think we're gonna have a good conversation because
It's already
this
imagined to
is
be a fantastic conversation.
yeah.
So Matt, what's the next topic?
What is the next topic? Process, not product. Process, not product was the name of the next chapter. And so he was talking about the author was then talking about another master he said he had. His name was Wan Suhan. He was a Korean master who taught Hapkido. Hapkido, I'm going to have to look up. Tom, would you mind looking up maybe what Hapkido is so we can kind of go into it a little more? If you
Thanks,
could share it
Tom.
on the screen, that'd be sweet. So the author was saying, so he's 50 years old at the time that he was training with this guy, right? And he said, you know, for him it was really tough learning this new martial art. And he said Juan Suhan, he noticed that and he brought him aside and he said, "Hey, so what's going on?" And the author said, "Well, I'm finding it's a lot more difficult for me to kind of keep up with these other younger students that you're working with." And the master, that's understandable, you're older but here's the deal. He's like, what you're doing is you're putting a limit on yourself. You're putting a time limit, right? You're saying, I need to master this within this certain amount of time. These students that are younger than me, they can master this within 2 months, but hey, it's 5 months now and I'm still going. He said, when you do that, you're getting in your own way. You're creating anxiety, you're creating stress, and you're ultimately holding yourself back. He said, so get rid of that limit. Focus on the process and not the final product, right? And he said, after he did that, things came a lot easier. It was a lot quicker. So, I mean, for multiple reasons, that's pretty incredible, right? Tells you the mind holds you back, one, and two, well, actually, that's really the big thing, man. The mind holds you back. So get rid of your own limits. Don't hold yourself back. You can accomplish anything. So, Tom, what is this? Let's Hapkido.
So Hapkido is another style of martial arts.
Ooh.
So it's a Korean version. It is a form of self-defense that employs joint locks, grappling, throwing techniques, kicks, punches, and other striking attacks. It also teaches the use of traditional weapons, including knives, swords, ropes, nunchucks, canes, short sticks, and staffs. And guns, apparently. And guns.
Guns. The martial art.
The martial arts of gunslinging. There we
Martial
go.
arts.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
it's not. It's hard. I don't know. It's hard to be super accurate with a gun.
With
It
guns?
takes some skill.
It is
Yeah.
That's a
definitely difficult.
discipline. Yeah, it's a discipline, right? You got to make sure that. And you know what? So we're gonna get into it with the Zen breathing as the last thing we talk about. But breathing is huge with like snipers. I've heard that's huge with guys shooting guns. Make sure you control your breathing. You guys heard that?
Oh yeah. No, I totally agree. Like usually I take a breath. Like if I'm gonna like if times I don't go shoot all the time, but every time I always like trying to aim for a far target.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 100 yards out, and I definitely always breathe, and I like never every time I shoot it's just iron sight. So iron sight's 100 yards out. It's just like a little speck that you're looking at. You're just like, all right, like, and then at that you got to account for a little bit of a drop and stuff.
There's a lot that goes into it, so you definitely want to be as focused as possible.
Yeah,
Maybe
I kind of want to go
there's-
hunting next year. I think that would be super fun.
Hunting would be cool,
Like-
man. We got to do it.
Yeah. Do you want to come up? You could back.
Yeah.
We could get
Oh
elk.
yeah, dude, I'd love to
Go
go
elk
hunting.
hunting.
Yeah.
No, if you
elk.
want, I don't know. I need to
Oh.
talk to some people from work. Like I like two people I work with are like hunting instructors, and so like they literally because you actually have to take a course before you can go hunting. Things about hunting people don't get. You got to take a course. There's like all this stuff you have to go through. Also,
Yep.
hunting seasons extremely short, with a gun. Like hunting with a gun for like deer is like a couple weeks. It's not that long.
You know,
And,
in Idaho, I heard it's pretty tough. It's like a lottery trying to get a hunting license. Right.
Deer's not bad. The one that is like certain specialty animals. So if you want to kill a moose, usually it's moose.
Ooh.
Moose or a bear. Like you can usually get, so it is a lottery system, but what people will do who are hunters, they'll go in for an elk. I think you can just get a deer, but they'll go in for like an elk, a moose, and a bear, and then they'll try to see if they can get one of them. Like I was
Dude,
talking to a guy today.
People don't. No way. They go out to purposely hunt a bear.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I was talking to
bear.
a dude today that just bagged a
Definitely.
bear.
You talk to them?
But that, oh yeah, I was just talking to him.
There's videos on YouTube too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a thing. So process
YouTube is real
and
life.
products and process.
YouTube is real life, Tom.
YouTube
So
is
if they
real
kill,
life.
if they hunt the bears in YouTube, they do it in real life.
Oh, but this guy was crazy. He was talking about how he made a walleye chowder, which is like a kind of fish, but it's not a fish you can buy. So this guy like caught a fish, then made a chowder with it. I was talking about how he killed 3 animals that the combined weight. I mean, yeah, no, he didn't bag a moose, but it was a deer, elk, and a bear, that he all shot this season. So it's like a couple 1,000 pounds of meat. Like, what are you gonna
And
do?
you know what? For each one of them, they needed the discipline. And that discipline came through the
Oh yeah,
process. Tom,
yeah,
lead into you.
yeah. Go
Bam.
Tom.
You like that?
Well, I actually had a experience the other day where this lesson could have definitely been applicable.
Ooh, do tell.
I was I have I'm a big picture guy. I like envisioning end products. I like being thinking of new things and how they would look, but the small details and the process of how to achieve those big pictures can sometimes be a little hazy. And I was trying to build a website that had all this function, all these cool, awesome apps and perks, and I needed to get my personal business off the ground. And
Yes.
this was going to take
What's your
a
personal business,
while.
Thomas Sterling? You want to tell us?
So I have a digital property company. So basically, I buy, rent, flip, sell, and build websites for clients. But I am the actual owner of those websites. I'm
Owner.
interested in ranking on Google search pages
Yes.
in small to
To help
medium
you.
and regional markets, uh, thus securing businesses that work with me an extra avenue of web traffic that their websites may not be optimized to secure. So
So,
that is my business.
so Tom, in normal human terms, for anyone who doesn't understand
Ooh,
SEO and
I wanna sum it up. See if how accurate. So I would say the type of value that Tom Sterling Company is providing is he's enabling you to get premium URLs, a
yes,
premium service
yes.
at a very low rate, so that you don't
Oh
have a
God.
massive upfront cost of 20, 30, 40, $50,000 to get these premium URLs. Tom
Oh,
Sterling's going
a
in
lot of
there,
money.
getting it for you, helping you manage certain aspects of it, getting you increased traffic because of that,
Yep.
and then eliminating a lot of your upfront cost.
well,
Yep.
I
Yeah.
Or
that
something
that
like that.
that
I don't know.
Couldn't you
that's
If I
couldn't
was
do it
gonna
on
pitch
your
it, that's what
own?
I'd say.
that's next on the way to put it. Instead of being like a URL though, it's a domain name. So
Domain name,
a
yeah.
website
Domain
name,
name,
Yes.
IP
yeah.
address. And essentially with my business, the traditional thinking is incredibly archaic in my opinion. That you as a business owner are going to start a website, and that's the only website you're supposed to have. Like you could be pouring hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars into trying to optimize a site that really, at the end of the day, isn't really optimal.
Hundreds
Uh,
of thousands, a lot of money.
yeah, well, you're putting in content, you're putting in SEO, but you have to realize that if you have a beach, if you have a property 20 miles from the beach, like if you're like a commercial realtor, like that property is 20 miles from the beach. Your
Mm.
website is 20 miles from the traffic in some instances. So why not rent a smaller satellite location that expand your business, expand your online portfolio of websites so you have an extra website optimized for a local or regional SEO search. For instance, like HoustonRentals.com, people looking for rentals in Houston. If you're like
Big now.
if you're a sole proprietor doing or rentals in Houston, then you'd love a domain like that because that's extremely searchable and extremely relatable.
Yeah.
Whereas your individual name, because you're a sole proprietor, you have to use your name in your company. At least in real estate, from my understanding, no one knows who you are, but people know that they want a rental in Houston. So if I don't actually have that domain name, I wish I did. But if someone actually had that domain name, then they would be able to. You could then rent that in this case from me, for an X amount of dollars a month, and you could put all your contact and all the traffic going through that website every month could be directed straight into your business. That is what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. So if I have you, so if I have it correct, so basically what you're saying here is you're providing a fantastic service to your customers,
Yes.
enabling them to get additional web traffic, because it's not as if they're having to change their current website. What you're doing is you're saying, hey, these are other searchable domains, and what I'm going to do is give you, the rights to use said domain, and then it'll directly link to your current website and enable additional searches.
Yeah, link or contact form, exactly. We're trying, because if we're trying to divide up the amount of, like, you have different customers. Likely, if you're a business, you have a diversity of customers, and
Sure.
you may optimize your personally owned website for a specific customer base, but you're leaving out tons of potential customers that may not fall into your direct ideal customer profile. So why not rent out a website that is optimized for those people, that those people every month are searching, so they find your business? That's what I'm doing. I'm creating another website to help funnel traffic, and that's how I'm doing it, funneling traffic to that individual's business.
Yeah. So what's the link
specifying.
to your website, Tom?
Tell us.
Basically, I
go
just
there
got
now.
my first
I'm
listing
intrigued.
technically live. I don't have a shopping cart or payment processor yet, but sterlingdigitalproperties.com is my actual
Ooh,
website.
what a name. Digital.
I'll have a portfolio of different domains and websites available, and as I grow and expand the business, I'll have renters and be building equity in websites. Because, I mean, if we're putting content on these websites and growing it, and the traffic and the equity only increases from there. So if your website's only been getting, let's say 5,000 visitors a month, let's go build 3 more websites in different areas of your niche to then funnel maybe an additional 5,000 or 6,000 into your company. It's just all about searchability and having more realty on the internet to make more sales and be more expensive. Because Google is not going to rank your website for like 100 different search results. They're going to rank you for like maybe 3 or 5 at most. Whereas if you have multiple websites, then those different websites could be targeted for different search results in your business and in your niche. That's what I do.
So I don't know if you guys, I don't know if anyone watched this picked up on it, but I just want to clarify for anyone who might not have. It's all about the process. It's about the process that gets you traffic to become successful, grow a successful business. Thomas Sterling, is doing the work. He's helping you with the process so you get the end product. But you have to focus on that process first. You have to focus on Thomas Sterling here, who is putting in this work to help you. And the product's going to come. It's going to come a lot faster than you think.
Well, that was what my story was kind of centered on, was that I had a vision of this website, 5 stars, premium, super awesome. But that would take me a year or 2 to do. I don't have a year or 2 to, make my, first sale. I need to get up a minimum viable product so I can receive criticism, get feedback, and start getting some income. That is the most important thing right now. So why am I trying to focus on trying to make something that's absolutely perfect? That's going to take me a long time, and I'm going to suffer between now and then, both in terms of hours, stress, learning curve, all these things. You gotta take things step by step. You need to focus on the process, and each step is purposeful. That's what I realized the other day was I got a bunch of these domain names that are just sitting in my portfolio not being marketed or sold. That's priority number 1. That's actually doing a business, is selling something. And if I'm spending all my time trying to build a house without concrete or a foundation, it's going to crumble. So,
Yep. You can build a skyscraper, but if there's no good foundation, it's going to crumble here
exactly.
pretty quick. A skyscraper to fall. Those things cost a lot of money. So, Tom, that was fantastic. I want
on
to
falling
say,
buildings. Oh, sorry, you got me on falling buildings. So there was a wind like storm basically in my town.
what we do.
And
go
we had
on
like
tangent.
40, 50 mile an hour winds. And I was just driving around the countryside, and there are like a couple people's whose barns, because I'm in the kind of place where people have barns, barns just totally collapsed. Just the entire barn, just done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad bones.
Yeah.
No
One lady
foundation.
died. She was at a stoplight during the windstorm. Tree fell on her car, killed her.
Okay, well, I don't know what that has to do with the foundation. That made me very sad. Let's get back to the book before I start crying.
Crazy. I know. I stayed inside during the windstorm, just FYI, and parked my car away from trees.
Well, so, okay, all right. So, basically, what you want to take from that chapter is first thing you want to take is buy one of Tom's domains. Second thing you want to take is you got to take the deadline off yourself.
Well, technically, work with Tom Sterling on his fantastic service and programs that he actually offers you to really optimize your website, optimize your search traffic, improve your overall SEO, and in the long run, it add for additional sales and save you a whole bunch of time, and having a fantastic partnership.
Yep.
Thank you guys.
And he'll wear that suit the whole time. I promise you.
Yep. Actually, he has 4 suits.
Professionalism.
Only one American.
Only one
the rest
American.
Italian.
Yeah, those are Italian.
Rich man.
Empty your cup. See a lot more of the world. You'll see there are more suits than just American. All right. So the next chapter was called "Seize the Moment." This is a pretty good one. I think everyone knows this, but no one really actually does it. No one seizes the moment. So the story behind this one, Joe Hyams, he was practicing one day. I think it was under the same guy, Juan Suhan. And he said he was watching the clock the whole time. And the master noticed this, and, he stopped the lesson. He said, okay, we're done for the day. And then before he was leaving, he said, hey, it doesn't seem like you're all there. And he said, yeah. He said, I had a meeting before this. I have a meeting after. I got a lot going on. And he said, look, he's like, we all think a lot about the future. We all think on the past. He said a lot of people focus on the past. He said you don't want to do that because regret lives in the past. He says anxiety lives in the future. He says we are all living in the present. He said in order to truly live, to truly enjoy yourself, experience things, live in the present because we are all living in the present. So that's kind of what he was saying. You want to keep your activity on the moment. That was pretty powerful. I don't know about you guys.
I don't know.
But until you put it into something you think about.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's I definitely thought it was powerful. I've always been definitely at least especially put it that way. I always thought bad stuff that used to happen, generally speaking, you don't want to think about that much. I mean, obviously, maybe you're if you could draw some power and strength for it moving forward on hard times, totally. But generally speaking, don't even talk about it. You got to be current on what you're currently doing, what you're going to do. But I think breaking that future stuff down and being, causing anxiety is something I'd never thought about. I never really put it to words in that sense. And I really thought that was an interesting insight to bring in.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Thomas Sterling Digital Properties. You got any thought?
Oh, damn it. I broke my pen.
No, I absolutely love the message. However, I will offer a slight pushback to this way of thinking because obviously...
How dare you?
Yeah, I know. How dare I question the book? I mean, I just think of it in terms of if everyone was just consistently living the present every single moment, then I think the world would just go on fire. Because in order to execute something like a strategy, a plan, a mission, or a goal, you need to have conception of the future.
Yep.
You do need to understand what your ends are.
Yep.
And develop the means to achieve those ends. And that all takes place in the conception of the future. that we don't know what's going to happen 5 minutes from now. We don't know what we're going to be talking in 5 minutes from now, but we can think about what we want to discuss. We have show notes. We have we've written quotes. We have all this material so that we could build off
if
of
anyone
that for
asks,
the
we
future.
come prepared.
So living 100% in the present isn't, necessarily an answer. But that was my counterpoint. But where I do absolutely love this message is so many people do get lost, and I've fallen victim to this as well. So many people get lost in their dreams in the future, comparing themselves to other people, that their mind is always on something other than themselves. And that is, I think, what the core message was in this paragraph, in this quote, in this chapter. So I fully believe that, yes, we definitely do need to live more in the present. We need to be uber focused on what we're doing, but we do definitely need to think about the future and what we're working towards. Because after you have some idea, then you focus on being in the present and executing on that goal, on that strategy.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with what Tom was saying there. Definitely it can be totally taken as, hey, don't plan. I'm living for the now. Do drugs, do all this, whatever, bang hookers, I don't know, whatever you want to do.
All stuff we definitely promote. We do not.
I'm kidding. I mean, whatever it is.
Only legal drugs like alcohol.
Yeah. So
hookers if you don't pay them and they're your lover and you're married. That's the only time you sleep with them.
Yeah, we're actually great church.
We're trying to reach out to a Christian audience, so.
Yeah, hookers and blow. I know what they're into.
We're getting high on
Jesus.
Jesus.
Snow. As in snow, it's wintertime. We're talking about snow.
Baby, it's cold.
Oh, that angel dust. I know what you're talking about. The white lady.
That's right.
Let's know.
But yeah. So I totally agree with what Tom was saying. It definitely can be totally taken as, hey, don't plan for the future. But yeah, like Tom was exactly saying, I feel like that's really not where the guy was going with it. It's much more about just being present in the current thing you're doing, and not letting the things that happened in the past affect what you're currently doing, and not letting the things that are going to happen affect what you're currently doing.
So yes, I agree with both your points. I do want to point out what Tom's saying is very important, however, because what someone might get from reading this and from hearing what I said initially, what said or excuse me, stop the haters, what you and I discussed together, was that you want to live more in the moment. And so if you solely hold on to that idea of only live in the moment, I mean, you're not going to be able to forge a future that you appreciate. If you live too much in the moment, then you're never going to achieve anything. And, as human beings, what do we all have in common? We're all learning things. In order to learn more and to become smarter and stronger and better advocates of what the world has to offer, we have to have some kind of semblance of what we want to achieve in the future. So, Thomas Sterling, thank you for bringing that up. You definitely want to have a good balance. But the important thing is don't get lost in the future or the past for that matter. You need to focus on what's going on in the moment if you want to truly live in it.
Oh, something I read it in some book, but it was never regret anything. Because you can't change it. So don't even think about it. Don't be like, oh, I wish I didn't do it. No, that was the right choice because you learned from it if it wasn't the right one. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't regret anything. That's a lot harder said than, or it's a lot easier said than done. A lot of this stuff's a lot easier said than done. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of discipline. If you really want to master it, take martial arts. You'll learn all this stuff super quick. Well, faster than maybe someone who's not doing it. That's what I'm kind of getting from this. You guys ready for the next chapter?
Yeah.
Sweet. The next one is called Conquer Haste. This was a good one. I practiced this now. This one's big because we live in the technological age, especially where everyone has notifications on their phones. So that's a little prelude. So basically what was happening was Joe Hyams, the author, is having tea with Master Han. Again, this Master. And he noticed that they were talking, and while they were talking, the Master received a letter from his family. He said it was a letter that he was expecting. He was dearly expecting. He was waiting to see this letter, and Joe stopped. He stopped talking for a little bit and kind of gave him time to, look at the letter. Well, Master, oh gosh, what's his name? I just forgot his name. Master Han. Master Han, he didn't look at the letter right away. He grabbed the letter and he put it down, and then he continued his conversation. And so Joe, he kind of thought on that. He thought that's kind of interesting. He came back the next day. He said, "Hey, Master Han, that's pretty incredible that you did that. You've got quite a grasp of, you've got quite a control over yourself." And he said, "Well," he said, "I treated that letter like I would treat anything else." He said, I notice I have it. I put it down. I set it aside. I don't grab it right away. And then when I'm ready, I pick it up dearly and gently, as if it's the most important thing to me. I open it up, and then it means that much more." And it seemed like, he said the whole point of that was, if you practice, kind of conquering your haste, as the title says, if you practice that for the little things like a letter, you're going to be able to do that for the bigger things. Like, say you're investing in the stock market, and there's this you've been watching, and it's jumped like $10. Well, you're like, "Oh, I got to get in," because it's jumping up, it's raising. But if you really kind of look at generally what happens when stocks jump $10, a lot of the time is the next day it might drop like $10 or $20. So, you got to kind of be patient. You got to understand.
Sorry, one sec. We do not give any stock advice. This is we don't know what we're talking about. We also are not lawyers. We support all genders, all religions, all beliefs, except for the wrong ones. And so yeah.
Except for the wrong ones.
You know what? I gotta argue. I don't think there are any wrong beliefs. I don't think that makes sense.
I think there's definitely
except for the belief in wrong beliefs.
Boom. Yeah, that's a wrong belief right there.
Belief in wrong beliefs. No, I don't know. We could get really philosophical. I think if you're able to have that idea.
I was trying to be funny.
I think if you have that. Well, no. Now we're going into it. We're being philosophical.
Okay.
No, yeah.
No. We gotta conquer haste here.
Oh, you can go into it.
We gotta conquer haste. Let's put that conversation.
If you wanted to conquer haste, you will let us continue our conversation.
No. You're being hasty. You're going into this way too hasty. You're angry. You want to hit Cedric right now. I can tell.
Aggressive.
Very
I don't
aggressive.
I'm
feeling
You're like, there are no wrong beliefs.
Put words in my mouth. I wanna just like Master Han, gently touch, like it means the most important thing to me, and probably not touch. That's kind of a weird way to put it.
What the heck are you talking about? What do you want to touch?
I was trying to relate it to the book. Okay, it didn't work out. Cedric, I'm just saying, man, I wouldn't hit you. That is a wrong belief, something that we don't.
Well, I don't think you want to fight me. Like,
no, Cedric's a big guy. Remember, he's the tall guy that you can ask him why he's so tall the first time. After that, don't do it, because tall guys don't like that.
Yeah.
But anyway. Conquering haste. What do you guys think about that?
Well, we live in an age where everything's about instant gratification. And to hear this lesson, I mean, this book was written in the 80s. To hear that lesson and try to apply it to the internet age and the information technology age is just like, how could you possibly do that? And it takes discipline. It takes discipline. Like, you order your Amazon packages. Like, who has, like, the ability to not want to open the thing they ordered and have been waiting for like, 2 days, 2-day shipping, right?
Yeah.
Or answer that text message, or reply to that, post, or our social media companies they draw us in. All big companies, big tech, big business, like, they draw us in. They take away our focus. They take us out of the present. They take us from focusing on ourselves, and they seek to give us a dopamine hit every single time we get a notification, get a post, and it brings us right back into them.
So, Tom, do these big companies, do they really take us, or is what they're really doing understanding certain psychological techniques to where we actually do it to ourselves by falling in the trap of, you know, getting this dopamine by clicking this like button or by seeing all these fun cars on this page, or
I
what's really going on? Is it us that's in control? Are we doing it? Are they doing it to us? Or are we doing it to ourselves through their, I guess, kind of brokering, Cedric? I don't know what that word I'm thinking of, but what do
I
you think?
personally, I definitely believe now that tech companies, data companies know us better than we know ourselves. Like they have, like for instance, so many people today don't like actually have a diary or journal. They don't like write about their daily lives, and they don't go back to looking at things.
Do you have one?
It's something that I've done on and off. I haven't written a post in a while, but
I got a journal. Those are great. If you really
my
want to like understand yourself, your subconscious, write down
You
exactly.
guys should start doing that.
You
Just do
Right.
like
you
have like
you
little
need to
notebooks. Do
consist.
like four
Yeah.
sentences. That's what today was.
Yeah,
I had one last night about a horse. It was like I was gonna tell people I was gonna get on this horse. Like, oh, we're
Oh,
having
you
this
have dream
race with these
journals?
horses. No, I have a dream journal. So last night, they're like, okay, we're gonna have this
Move to
horse race. And
California.
there are these strong brown horses, right? That's very important. I looked it up what that means. And I was like, yeah,
What?
I'll do it. I'll
Are
do
you
it. No,
into
just listen.
crystals?
No, just listen. I said, okay, I'll do it, but I didn't get on the horse. I didn't get on the horse. And I was surprised because I was fully confident I was going to get on this horse and go through this race and get it, finish the race first. But the sun was going down and I hadn't done it and my chance was running out. And so I thought about that and I realized what it meant was that because I was focusing so much on the news and what's going on in today's world with politics and all that stuff, and what I really want to do is I really want to read these books. I really want to discuss with you guys. And I really want to just be happy. And to be happy, you kind of got to disassociate yourself a little bit from some of those psychological techniques that make you angry and stressed and anxiety driven. But I got to say, man, I mean, if I didn't write that down, it really wouldn't have clicked. So that's the importance of writing your dreams down. If you got issues, if you got something that's really holding you back and you're wondering why that is, I mean, the biggest thing is just understanding yourself. If you understand yourself, you can accomplish a lot more than you think. That's my 2 cents.
My
Also, crystal energy.
Yeah, those are big too.
my point about the journaling though was going to be if you're not consistently engaging with previous versions of yourself through writing or through video or whatever it may be, you're not learning about yourself. But you can bet that big tech companies and big data companies and anyone that is in the ownership of data today, they have a consistent record of you. They know who you are every single day, what you're doing, who you're talking to. They know everything because
not if you're not on the website, not if you're not on the social media.
No, actually, they still have profiles of you, so they're called shadow profiles. Essentially, what that is, it's they can map out your entire social network, through your phone contacts. So you have, let's say, Matt, you're not on social media right now, but Cedric and I both have your phone number. Facebook and all these social media companies have access to that data, and through all of us, they can get a pretty good idea of who you are and who your friends are. So that way, when you do sign up for a profile, it makes all those recommendations, like follow this, follow that. They already know who you are.
That's super smart. That's a good point. Yeah, you could totally do that.
Shadow profiles through
Yeah,
contacts.
That's already similar to what they do with
Like,
Find
that's
Your Friend.
cool.
It's just attached to numbers, which is probably easier. That's genius. Facebook's smart. That's a good idea.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie.
we got,
listen,
we got
like,
Tom's like,
you
Tom's
call
like,
it
this
evil
is the
genius.
most evil thing. Cedric's like, oh, that's pretty smart. I gotta look into that.
Yeah, if you
it's
can't
evil
beat them, join
genius.
them. I'm a firm believer in that,
evil
right?
genius. What can I
They're
say?
all crooks. We can be crooks too.
Hey, listen, the cat's out of the bag.
I will not be
It's a Pandora's box story
It's not being a
where
crook. It's adding additional value to society and creating a bunch of jobs and paying a lot of taxes.
No,
Being awesome.
I think you can do that, and you can do it without manipulating people. First of all, to Cedric, to like, I kind of stand in the middle. I don't think that this is the fault of them. If you understand that they're doing this to you, if you understand that they're manipulating you through all these cognitive biases that you're not in control of, if you learn how they're doing it, you can start to mitigate it. But you have to learn it first. And so if you do learn it and you still let them manipulate them, then it's, what is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, you know? So, I mean, that's pretty much, that's it, man. Once you understand it, then it's up to you to make the decision. If you don't, then you can't blame anyone. But that's the whole point of this show, man. I think that's what I'm trying to do. I hope that's what we're trying to do is try to help people understand that, you know, there's a lot going on. And if you read books and you start to learn a bit about yourself first, and then about how other people interact with each other and business and success, then you can better, you know, work yourself around these different atmospheres like social media or, you know, businesses that maybe use other biases. Who knows?
exactly. So, was it that was our conversation on haste, right?
Conquer haste.
Conquer haste. So yeah, hey, get off the social media bandwagon, get off the internet bandwagon, and well,
but follow us on social media. But follow us on
watch our show. Subscribe to the like
Yeah.
button.
Yeah. Don't follow anyone else but us, and we'd be cool with that. That's
But-
totally fine.
Actually, no. They need to keep their cups open. You can subscribe to other people if you really want to, but remember, our content opens your mind, improves your life, and makes you happier. So I mean, and it's also awesome. And you get
It
to
is.
learn about a bunch of stuff.
Listen,
We talk about hunting bears and elk and other stuff that we haven't done before.
Listen,
I mean,
like,
what else talk?
knowing is half the battle. It really is. And I believe in the freedom of choice. And if you want to be on social media, but you understand all the facts, the concerns, and what's going on, absolutely. You're totally right. No one can tell you no unless you're Jack Dorsey and censoring you. But otherwise, you know, if you are scared by what you see and don't want to participate in it, then that's your freedom of choice, and that's where I stand on the issue.
Freedom of choice, baby.
You just gotta
understand yourself. You can make a lot more decisions than you think.
Knowledge.
You don't have to let other people control you.
No.
We ready for the next one? Know your limits.
Know your limits.
Yeah.
All right. So this one was pretty. This was a pretty important one. This is one I don't think a lot of people do think about. The author was at dinner one day with Bruce Lee, right? And he was, whoa, Cedric, what's going on with that cat, dude? Did you see that, Tom? What is going on?
It's
is that a hairless cat?
Yeah, it's a hairless cat.
Yeah, that's the hairless cat. Its name is
gosh.
Schroeder.
Schroeder.
Oh, Schroeder. Okay, well, I'm
Schroeder's a
just
good
gonna. Okay. All right. So anyway, he was at dinner with Bruce Lee, and they were kind of opening up to each other. And you know, he told Bruce, he said, I'm afraid I'm not the same man I was when I was younger. And Bruce said, well, what are you talking about? And he said, well, I'm not as good at getting limber as quickly. I'm not able to kick as high, and I'm afraid I'm not able to accomplish the same things I was when I was younger. That's something that affects everyone. I mean, as we all get older, our physical limitations definitely increase. The goal is to not let your mental capabilities decrease. You always want to keep learning, so keep working on that. But anyway, let's get into what he kind of learned from this. So Bruce told him that, you know what? He said, I understand you're reflecting on who you were in the past. He said, but you gotta focus on who you are in the moment. He said, you gotta understand what you're good at now. He said, and you gotta capitalize on that. He said, don't let your weaknesses hold you back. Let your strengths carry you forward. And so Bruce actually went in and he was talking about his limitations because the author Joe was saying, "Oh, well, Bruce, you're the perfect specimen." He said, "Well, I haven't told too many people, but my one of my legs is 1 inch shorter than the other, and I actually wear contact lenses. So when I was a kid, I was nearsighted." He said, "I do Wing Chun because it's close combat. I don't need to see someone from too far." He said, "So I didn't let my limitations hold me back. Instead, I let them drive me to be the person I am today." And everyone knows Bruce Lee. Everyone knows how successful Bruce Lee was. So what he told Joe was, he said, kicking high it's more for show. Anyway, it's kind of just you want to impress someone. He said, you don't really need to do that. He said, just do waist high kicks. Just practice that a bunch, and you know what? You won't need to use high kicks. You'll be able to handle someone with those waist high kicks. It doesn't matter. And so Joe worked on his waist high kicks, and I mean, he said he got better than Joe. He might have said, or than Bruce. I don't believe him. I don't believe anyone was really better than Bruce Lee. But he got really good at him. So, what do you guys take from that?
Oh, I think just first don't figure out a way to make it work. I think it's just basically what I got from it. It's like, I mean, if you do really have limitations, you got limitations, and then just learn how to work around those said limitations. Or maybe if you can't get to what 100% would be, if you can get to 90, then just get to 90. Don't
Yep.
stay at 0.
Yeah. Don't let your weakness hold you back from even trying to accomplish something.
Yeah, it's like even more so than it would have previously.
A lot of people seem to do that. A lot of people hold themselves back, man. I don't know what's making people hold themselves back. What, are they afraid? Or I mean, if you think about it, we only have one life. We only have one life, so really, what are you holding yourself back for? What are you working this 9 to 5 job for? What are you,
But
not
Matt, but
traveling
Matt,
for? What do you?
but Matt, I'm nervous about the future. I don't know.
You
There's
don't
so
know.
much.
Well, so you're just gonna let it take advantage of you. You're just not gonna try to achieve what you can before you die.
But I mean, it would be a lot of work. It would be hard.
Okay, but what happens if you don't put in that work?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, you're going to stay in the same spot. You're not going to go anywhere, and you're going to be not happy the rest of your life. And you know
What?
what? I got to tell you something. You only got one life. You ever heard that's the YOLO, that you only live one life? That is a lot more real than people actually let on. You only
Uh,
live one life, so you better achieve and experience as much as you can before that happens.
so what you're
So,
saying is, if I don't take any risks and I don't try to better myself and move toward goals, I'm not taking as much advantage of my life as I could.
no, you got to take some risks, man. If that's what it means to be successful, maybe you do have to take some risks.
Okay. That was just for all our listeners out there. All right, if you're feeling that same way, listen to what Matt has to say. Get after it.
Listen to what Sattercast is saying. That was good, dude. Both of us. I'd give you a high five if I was there. That was good. Good acting. We should be actors. No, but yeah, so there's that aspect. Don't be afraid of risks and failure and all that. Pertaining to the chapter, my personal belief is, I like to mitigate risks as much as possible. To do that, you need to mitigate the variables. Mitigate the variables, be in control of as much as possible. Understand you can't control everything. It's impossible. We live in a world where you know what? It's governed by statistics, and what's the number one rule of statistics? There's never anything that's 100%, but it's determined by a trend line.
Except for that you subscribe to the like button. That's 100%.
That's true.
Everybody subscribing to the
That's
like
true.
button.
I take that back. I lied to you earlier. I didn't mean it. It was unintentional, so I guess it wasn't lying. It was just misinformed. But yeah, I mean, well, I got so taken by your like button, I kind of lost my train of thought.
You're
Yeah,
just
no,
talking
just
about everything's 100%
just
statistics.
mitigate your variables, right? Mitigate the variables that are stopping you. So, and to mitigate the variables, best way you can do that, find what you're good at, applying the skills you're good at. Maybe you're a people person. Maybe you're good at with numbers. Maybe you're good at, remembering things, people's names, faces, and maybe you're part of the mob. Don't do that. Just find what you're good at. Find what you're good at, and that's going to help you mitigate enough variables to take a risk with enough confidence to take it and be successful with it. And you'll get out of your 9-to-5 job, and you won't be as sad.
Do a few things that you could do better than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thomas Sterling, take us away.
No, I mean, know your limits. I feel like we've all been sold the lie that you can go out and be anything and do anything. And as much as that's like a solid positive thinking, I like to think of like Mike Rowe. He gave was it Mike Rowe's the guy from Dirty Jobs? He gave a lecture on this actually, and he's like, your goal is to truly provide yourself with safety, food, shelter, provide for your family, live a good life, and the idea that you're going to be miserable chasing things that you just inherently sometimes just aren't good at, or are just so uber competitive that it's not even worth going in. Like, realize if everyone's going down the same road, you're just another number. You're just another person. You're just another face. That's all you are. But if you go down the road less traveled and you grow stronger through adversity and a challenge, but knowing that you are unique, you are only you, and that you're not trying to be anyone else, you're going to go strong, you're going to grow resilient, and you'll know what your limits are through that process. But doing what everyone else is doing and being angry that it doesn't work because 1,000, 100,000 other people are doing the same exact thing you're doing, thinking of like an online business, if everyone's doing the same exact online business, you're not going to be successful. If your town already has 10 plumbing businesses, you're not going to have another successful one. It's a competitive market. Find things that you're capable of doing, and build them and grow them and nurture them and be unique, be different, be the only version of you out there. Don't try to be a version of someone else. And your limit should be, wait, I'm trying to be too much like someone else. I need to come back. I need to find who I am. And that's going to be my point is, in terms of knowing your limits, don't try to be someone else. That's my thoughts.
Be someone else. By show of hands, how many of us can relate to what Thomas was saying when he said that we try to be like someone else? We want to be successful. We try to be like someone else. Here, show of hands. How many of us? No, not me, because I'm a perfect human being. But that's too bad for you guys, because
we're all trying to be like you, Matt.
Just
what would Matt do?
We should make t-shirts.
I want it tattooed on my forehead.
When we sell t-shirts, that's what we should. We just came up with a slogan. What would Matt do?
What do you mean t-shirts? They're selling suits.
Do what Matt would do. They're not going to
I was at a place today, and it reminded me of a t-shirt. So I was at a place today, and they had all their guys. It's a hydraulics shop, so they work on like heavy hydraulics, like for like dams and stuff like that. And they always do like different stuff for their dudes, and so they had shirts made, and it just says "It's fucked up" on the because like you'll see all these and these are like small like little hydraulic things. They're massive that they're working with, and they'll be like bent like a 90-degree, and it's just like a massive tube, and you're like, how'd that happen?
it's pretty fucked up. That's good. That's smart, man. Good.
Oh yeah, I thought that was funny. And that dude, his wife's super hot. Super hot.
For anyone who was wondering, my wife's super, super hot. Okay, so important thing to know your limit. It's right there in the chapter's title. Know your limits. And,
you're Cedric. You're like on live stream, right? Like this is there's now a public record of talking. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love you guys.
Well, I didn't mention anything. I was just said I was in a place, and I didn't say where it was or who it was or any of that stuff.
This is true. This is true.
Oh, that's 100% true. That's from like today. That was from like a couple hours ago.
Oh, good.
Cedric just he likes to keep people's minds guessing, right? You definitely want to put a little bit of mystery in someone's life. So now everyone's thinking, "Well, God, who's this woman? She's so hot. I gotta know who she is." And so like, "Nope, it's not for you to know."
No, well, she wasn't there today.
Boys are dogs.
I haven't seen her in a while, but I don't really go there. But besides the point, and then like the bear, like the guy I was talking to, that was today too.
Yep.
Like
Cedric has pretty exciting days.
Yeah.
I got yelled at
I was talking
because
to the other guy about liquor distributing today, or I guess he distributes beer. Talking about see how that works out for him, and
well, it's still alcohol. Still alcohol. Yeah. I like the I like the quote that they put at the end of this one. I liked a lot of the quotes. I didn't write them all down because some of them were too long, and I just was lazy. Power of mind is infinite, while brawn is limited. And I think that's just saying, definitely focus on what you're good at, find out what it is. Don't try to force your way through things. If you're not good at it, only do what you're good at, and things will flow into place. You guys ready for the next one? Even the masters have masters. Even the masters have masters. This one, I'd like to kind of gauge you guys a little more. I understand what he was saying with this one, but I would appreciate your guys' thoughts. So what happened was Joe was just kind of talking. He didn't talk about a specific experience. He was just talking about how each of the masters that he worked with, Bruce Lee, Master Han, Ed Parker, etc. He said, he holds them in such reverence, and he practices under them. He thinks they're so great. He said, but the incredible thing is that when they talk about their masters, they hold them in such reverence. And you sit there and you're like, there's no way. This guy's the best martial artist I've ever seen. But there's someone even greater than him. That's his master. And he was saying how they try to go back and work with their masters as much as possible and train with their masters just because they hold so much reverence for them. And so, as the chapter title is saying, even the masters have masters, he said it's a cycle. He, at the beginning of the book, he talked about sensei, what sensei meant. Sensei, I believe, means born before. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. Yeah.
Born before, and anyone who's born before is teaching the person born after just about life. Really, you're just teaching them about life. And so a sensei is someone who was born before, and they're teaching you. Now, he did mention that some of his martial arts masters weren't born after him, but it's just a matter of learning. It's just focusing on the fact that we're all learning, and even the masters have masters means that even our masters who we think are at the peak of their ability, they're still learning. They are still wanting to learn. They learn when they teach you. They learn from their masters. And it's definitely humbling to know that everyone we think is perfect, everyone we think who has a lot of money and has the world going for them, and they're still learning things. They're still struggling. They're still trying to figure things out. So you're not alone in that aspect, and we are all still learning.
Yeah,
anything more than...
Well, the moment you stop learning is the moment you truly stop living. Because then you're just maintaining. And you're staying exactly where you are. If you refuse to learn, if you refuse to look up a new book, research a new idea, or contemplate or think about things, then you're truly stagnant. And you're going to be stuck. And I think that leads down a dark road of anxiety, depression. You need to consistently be learning, because then you start seeing opportunities and to grow in whatever you're wanting to learn about.
So it's pretty interesting that right now in today's day and age, it seems like anxiety and stress and depression, and unfortunately, suicides are at an all-time high. And it seems like those come from all those emotions I just mentioned. So, is there a connection there between what you just said, what this chapter is saying, and all this anxiety that seems to be sprouting up in the world? Is it larger than that? What's going on?
Well, I don't want to say, throw a book at a depressed person. That's not what I'm saying to do.
I'd make
have
sure
you
it
ever
was
heard
closed.
the read a book song?
No.
Negative.
Oh, it
Is it
goes,
good?
read a book, read a book, read a. It's like swears, mother effing book, read a book, read a book, and then it goes, drink some water, drink some water, drink some
Speaking of which,
water.
yeah, I'll drink some water.
Like drinking water.
Drink some liquor.
It's like, don't buy rims, don't buy liquor, drink water. It's like a cartoon
Good.
thing. It's
And if you know
sketchy.
what, if you swear in it, that's gonna make people want to do it because I mean that's what the cool people do. So I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this, man. Not on live stream. We don't want to get that whole copyright thing, but still.
Well, I mean, I think anxiety, depression, all those issues, I mean, it's so many things. You can't just say, like, oh, it's people's refusal to learn. Like, all they have to do is learn to not be depressed. Obviously, that's not the solution. But I think a contributing factor is definitely if you don't have an idea of where you want to go, you're panicked because you're stuck. It's like being out in a car that's running out of gas in the middle of nowhere. Like, if you don't have the means to get where you're going and you have that feeling that your car's running out of gas, then yeah, all you're doing is waiting. But what you gotta do when your car's running out of gas is you gotta keep walking. You gotta keep pushing. You gotta understand that there is new places to explore and new things to see, and you gotta march out of it. Because if you're just gonna stay stuck and curse, God for putting you in a position of weakness, then you're just going to be resentful. And you don't want to be resentful. You want to be someone who marches on, who understands that the situation has become toxic, is untenable, and move forward.
So it sounds like you're saying the longer we stand, the more we blame others for our misfortune or what we see as misfortune. But really, it's just a natural law that humans need to move forward, and naturally the anxiety will go away. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we thrive off experience. And, we're social creatures. We learn. We got to keep moving. We got to keep pushing forward. So, absolutely, what you just said is nails right on the head there. And if we just stay where we are, and because if you do picture yourself in a car outside, it's run out of gas or run out of electricity now because we're in the electric car age, and
Not much.
civilization isn't for miles. You have to understand that you have to go find it. You have to look for it. You have to pick yourself up and seek it out, because no one's going to hear you complain all day. No one's around you when you're out in the middle of nowhere. And if you're just yelling at the sky, no one can hear you. And you have to get to a point where you're like, okay, what I'm doing no longer is not helping me. I'm not in a position to help myself right now. I need to walk and I need to march, and it may be difficult. I'm definitely going to be pushing myself, but if I at least keep moving, then there's the chance something special happens. And I think life is full of special moments, and if you keep moving, something will find you.
Tom, that was very intricately put. I'm going to give you a little golf clap because if I give you a real clap, it'd be too barbaric. So thank you.
Thank you.
Stop the haters! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Any thoughts?
We're learning the whole learning chapter and not stopping the learning.
Well, it's just that the masters have masters.
Okay, I just want to make sure because we started talking anxiety and I was like, I wasn't sure whether it had stretched away because it was I was thinking for a second or we had introduced another one.
Stop the haters.
Yeah, so
I stretch away.
learning, I think it just goes kind of similar to Tom saying, not peaking and your life almost stops and you stop learning. I always think of Shirley Temple. Shirley Temple. I mean, now people might not know who she is now because
Great drink.
very long time. But yeah, to all the youngins out there, Shirley Temple was a notable actress from like the 50s, I want to say.
Mhm.
And she started a bunch of movies, and she was a child, so she retired from acting at age 12, and I think she maybe was in it for like 6 to 8 years throughout her childhood, and she retired at
Wow.
age 12. But Shirley Temple didn't just go live in a big mansion, whatever, and just like just do whatever and not worry anymore. Shirley Temple actually became a U.S. diplomat and had
No way. Are
incredible.
you serious?
Yeah, she became a U.S. diplomat and had an incredible
Huh.
political career. And actually, I guess was very active as well. I can't remember
Wow.
what country she was, but it was like a pretty notable one. It wasn't like just whatever,
So-
like Moldova or something.
So this girl was a child star, had pretty much everything she could ever want. Her parents had probably made so much money, she could have found a tax attorney, could have, found a way to multiply her money and just lived off it forever. But she went out and she tried to make herself so big, and she accomplished it by becoming a U.S. diplomat and kept being active and kept. That's pretty incredible. I guess it tells you never be satisfied.
Yeah, she never peaked. She could have quit at 12. And I think she might have almost even died as a diplomat. She did so long. But yeah.
Well,
and then
well-
also there's a fat gap in between there too. I mean, it's like there's like a whole
But
20,
she
30
got
years
there.
where she's like getting, having to work, because it's not like they're just like, oh yeah, you could become a diplomat. Like you definitely have to work towards it. So
Yeah.
Well, just look at Elon Musk.
I want to be a diplomat. I want
I
to be
mean-
a diplomat for like a cool country.
Mhm.
Oh, imagine having
This-
like
Estonia.
no, I don't want Estonia. I want freaking what's it?
Uzbekistan. I
called?
want Uzbekistan. Give me that one.
Oh, what about
What's the
South
cold
Sudan?
one?
Do you want
Greenland.
South Sudan?
No, you
Oh.
don't. What do you want South Sudan for? Isn't it not even a country? Yeah.
No, South Sudan is 100% a country.
Tom, don't you
what-
insult
South
the
Sudan is like
Sudanese.
literally. So it used to be just Sudan, and then it split into two different countries. And South Sudan, I don't even think it's the North Sudan. I think it's the South Sudan.
But,
Just like-
but one of them isn't fully.
New
but
developed.
it's like
Hampshire.
it's
There's
like
no
literally like the
Hampshire.
worst, most dangerous
Old
place to be
Hampshire.
right now is South Sudan.
Why
There's
do you
no
want
old
to go be a
Hampshire, but there's a
diplomat
new
there?
Hampshire.
Oh, you make the most money. So I was looking into it. So depending on how dangerous it is, where you work as a diplomat, they pay you more. So if you like are in what's that one really small, like basically city country that all the rich people, Monaco. So if you're like the diplomat from Monaco, there's obviously a slight adjustment, I think, because you do live there. Because Monaco is really expensive, but it's not nearly the same as if you live in South Sudan. It's like
Cedric,
3 times as much, just in hazard pay.
I think Cedric's mentality is that because he's such a large individual, he's going to be safe no matter where he goes.
What are you
Cedric,
talking about? I'm a bigger target. I don't want to be out there.
You just said you
I'm
want to
gonna
go
be
be a
right behind my.
diplomat.
He's
I'm
gonna be
gonna
out
be
there.
behind my diplomat walls.
Okay. That didn't work out for those guys in the 12 Hours movie.
Nope.
In,
Benghazi.
where was
Didn't
that?
really work out for them.
Benghazi. It didn't work out for that guy in Benghazi.
Yeah, but it worked out for all the rest of them.
How do you know?
That's what they say. That's what they
Minimize the variables. Minimize variables. We're taking a risk. Getting out of this 9-to-5 job, baby.
So
All right, guys. Do you have any final thoughts on that? The learning cycle.
Yeah, well, I saw a video from a young Elon Musk. I think it was either earlier today or yesterday. And like, here's a guy that just continuously like builds and sells companies. Like
what we're doing.
like he could just. It's just in his DNA. It's in his blood. He wants to continuously learn and build and change things. And as much as he could go, party and have his own private island, probably his own private country at this point, he just keeps going. He's just like, let's
Dude,
not
he's
stop.
selling. He's sold all his homes. So he's got all this money, and he's probably just spending it on his businesses.
Well, yeah. I mean, he like lives there. From what I understand, the schedule that guy works is absurd.
Well, he's
Like-
4 companies he's running.
Yeah, and he's active in all of them, and he's like, from what I understand, a master in all of them too. Like, not crazy, but can get to a technical knowledge on every single aspect of every single company.
That's
So he can
just
go talk to a coder about Tesla. Like, he's not a coder, like, but he can do it.
yeah.
Uh,
No,
You
yeah.
can't
Oh,
blame
fun
anyone.
Elon Musk video. Also, when he was young, there's an interview and it's talking about him buying his McLaren F1 and how
that was
everybody
the
thought
video I
that was
saw.
so ostentatious.
Yeah,
You see that one?
that's the video I saw. Yeah.
Oh yeah, super funny. But I don't know whether he still owns a car to this day. But if he theoretically did, great investment. Those are worth like 20 million.
McLaren?
He bought the Bond
F1s,
car
yeah.
that was used in I forget which Bond movie, but it's the one where the vehicle goes underwater and turns into a submarine. So he bought that car. He owns it.
Submarine car.
A submarine car. Yeah,
Oh,
it
my
works
favorite,
underwater.
most
It's not actually a car. They had to use two different cars. They converted one to a submarine and one was the actual car. He owns the submarine.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Another one is Bill Gates is so rich. There's what is it called?
That he creates his own
Oh,
vaccine.
I'm trying to remember.
Creates
Oh,
his
Boom.
own vaccines.
I can't remember the model number of Porsche, but basically at the time it was a flagship Porsche. It's like it's not the 918, it's 959. Sorry, it's Porsche 959. So Porsche 959 it's the first one to have like it has like four-wheel steering, ABS, like traction control, and there are a couple other things that it had in the 80s, and so nothing else had it. And this was a super expensive car in the 80s and was not supposed to be imported to the US. But Bill Gates wanted one. So he got with the
Yeah.
government. And you know what Bill Gates got? His red Porsche 959. And it was like one of the only ones. Eventually they were able to come to the US. But, oh, that's like a dream car. Like a 959. Oh, I've never even seen one. Yeah, I haven't seen a 959. I haven't seen a 959 in real life.
Well, if you got
I've seen
close with,
damn near every Ferrari. It's like,
and he's not hurting on cash. That's a level to get to. Get whatever you want, but don't
yeah.
settle. Don't settle. Otherwise, you'll be in the middle of the desert screaming at God. No one will hear you, like Tom said. No one wants that, except for me. I like screaming. I hear myself. You might have said no one hear. I hear myself. That's all that matters. All right, let's move on to the next chapter. You guys ready? Lengthen your line.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool one. I gotta say, man, it's a pretty cool one. You guys, so Ed Parker. So I just looked up. Thankfully, I wrote in my notes. He was a kempo master, right? He said it was like an American, like boxing. It was a mix between boxing and some other martial arts. It was like an American thing. I think Bruce Lee based Wing Chun off of it. I don't know. I'm spewing some facts I can't back up. It's definitely in the book. I'd have to listen to the book. But so anyway, uh, the author Joe, he trained under Ed Parker, and he found that when he was doing all this work, he wasn't at the same skill level as a lot of these guys. So to try to compensate, he would try all these little tricky moves, to try to catch them off guard. But what it ended up happening was he got his ass kicked. He got beaten up, he got thrown on the floor, etc. Well, Ed Parker, just as pretty much every one of these masters that he's had, I gotta find a master like this who notices when I'm doing something and teaches me something like some kind of mental like skill like this. This is pretty cool. This guy's experienced all this. But he brought him in his office and he drew a line on the ground. And he said, "Okay, tell me, Joe, how do you make this line shorter?" And Joe said, "Oh well, you could cut it up, you could do this, you could do that." He said he gave like 5 different ways of how you could cut it off, and each time Ed Parker said, "Nope, nope, 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 nope." And then what he did is he drew another line, but it was longer than the first one. And he said, "Okay, now tell me, how does that first line look?" And he said, "It looks smaller." He's like, "So that's it." He said, "Make your line longer, lengthen your line. What you want to do is you might see someone else is more successful than you at the time. But if you keep working on yourself, you strengthen your skills and you work hard at strengthening your skills until your line is longer than that other guy's because maybe he came complacent in his skills, then suddenly his line's a lot shorter and you're that much better. But you got to focus on yourself and you got to get better yourself. Don't try to take something away from other people. help yourself. There's a lot more I can add on to that. But you guys tell me your thoughts first on this chapter and kind of what he was saying.
Well, I think about it as yeah, just like what you're saying. It's just lengthening your line. It's seeing that like when it's all. I feel like the real point. It's all about what you're comparing yourself to. So you could take it as hey, I could get way better, or you could change what you're comparing yourself to. If you go look at people that live in, I don't know, Togo. You go to Togo.
Togos.
Togo. No, it's Togo.
How about
No,
South
the
Sudan?
sandwich shop. Sandwich shop.
No, no. Yeah, you go to Togo or Togo. I think it's Togo though. Togo. It's in West Africa. Oh, we're
Okay.
just naming African countries now. You
Yes.
got to compare yourself to the average Togoan person, and you live in America. You're like, I got this. Oh, what was the other country I mentioned? Like Monaco.
South
Yeah,
Sudan.
well, not South Sudan, but you compare yourself to the average
Sorry about
person
that.
from Monaco, and you're in America. You're like, damn, I'm broke. Uh, so it's just, I mean, even like that, I feel like it's like, what are you comparing yourself to? But then also what Matt was saying, it's like, or you can just grow your line, and then it is longer, or in comparison, or whatever.
So, okay, going off of that, I mean, is he saying then that you shouldn't compare yourself to some people, or is he saying that sometimes you can't compare yourself to other people because they might have it a lot better, or what's he
I'd say it's
saying?
relative. I feel like he's just saying it's
Relative.
relative. Yeah.
Can you help
Mm.
help me understand?
Well, at least all I mean saying it's relative is it's just like you're basing the length of the line off of it depends on where you're taking with it because I also am not disagreeing with you either. It's like I think it's also about it's like lengthen your line. It's like if you want that line to look shorter, then grow your line even longer,
Yep.
or increase like your like when I really actually hear it, what I really think is about increasing like my levels of difficulty and the things that I'm used to then grow my line so then that old line I used to be a part of feels smaller than what
Mm.
it was. That's really what I think about when I think about it with myself. But I mean, I think there's plenty of ways you can do it because it's lines. But I don't know, Tom,
Yeah.
thoughts?
Sounds like there are a few different ways you can interpret this. Thomas Sterling, what are your thoughts? You got another one?
Uh, no, was it not necessarily. I definitely agree with Cedric that we're comparative creatures. We think in terms of our surroundings. We understand. We we constantly put ourselves in the environment, but then we also compare ourselves to other people that are in other environments in completely similar
Hmm.
conditions. And that's a terrible mindset to be in because why would you want
Compare.
to? Yeah, like why? I said this earlier. You want to be the best version of yourself, and there
Yeah.
should be no one like you.
Hmm.
Or there's tons of people that are sheep out there that want to be like other people, and they wonder why they're angry and depressed at themselves because they're too busy trying to be like someone else, and they're not investigating and trying to figure out who they personally are and how they're different. So that's definitely I think the biggest message here is just not to compare.
Don't compare. So
Okay.
yeah, it sounds like you guys are saying, I mean, because what I got from it is, well, you can compare yourself, but if you're going to make sure that your line is longer, make sure you focus on yourself. Don't let how long their line is try to put you down, and don't try to take away from them. I've said it multiple times to Cedric in our previous podcast thing. All people prospect theory is telling people why people make decisions. That's what prospect theory is saying. It's saying that we're all loss averse, and that means that we don't want to lose things, right? And so we take more risks based on how much loss we might incur from a certain decision. Well, what I want to focus on is loss aversion, right? We don't want to lose things, and it doesn't matter if it's money, doesn't matter if it's people we love, doesn't matter if it's our friends or a house or even our time. right? We don't want to lose anything that's valuable to us. So, if you take something away, if you try to cut someone else's line, you try to take something away from them, it's not going to end out well. It's just going to make them mad. And odds are, if their line is longer than yours, then their line is probably more likely going to encompass your smaller line. So maybe what a good idea might be is maybe make your line larger, add to yourself. So you're not pissing off that other line, you're not pissing off that other person by taking something away from them. And you're that much better. You're ahead of them now, and you did so without encouraging any losses. You didn't make them mad. So because sometimes the largest issue is people want to try to get ahead of other people, but they do so in such a forceful way that when the other person notices, they're like, no, I'm not going to let you do that. And then they get in your way, and that's like an immovable object. So why not? Don't let that immovable object get in your path in the first place. Do it quietly. Work on yourself. Only focus on yourself, and you'll get ahead on your own. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh,
I mean, I don't disagree with it. I mean, from what he's saying, like, that's it's totally a way you can take it. Like, it's just like when he's mentioning like how do you make the line longer? It's like then you just say, then you're mentioning like because I think the whole point is when he's saying that it's like, don't why are you trying to make the line half the length? By cutting in half,
Yeah.
this,
Yep.
just make it twice as long. It's like,
Yeah.
what do they like? What do they like, Tom? The women like length, right?
Yep. Lengthen rulers because they enjoy math. Because
they
for
like
all our
lengthy
Christian
books.
children watching this,
Lengthy books.
you need to be good at math, and if you're smart and good at math, the women will love you. So always get a 12-inch
I would
ruler.
actually say that. Yeah, no, it's a funny kid lesson here. You think like your life's all about being cool and all this stuff when you're in high school? All lies. The most successful and cool people are the nerds. Because the nerds went to college and they got good jobs and then actually became cool because you can be a nerd in high school, go to college, and then and then you're smart and people actually think you're cool.
Okay,
Like,
but what
That
happens?
is totally
What
why our
happens if
society
they're a
is collapsing
smart
right
nerd?
now. It's
They're
revenge
a
of the
cool
nerds.
nerd.
Jack Dorsey, Zuckerberg, they're all nerds. This is their revenge.
No, what if? But what if? So Cedric, what if they're like a cool nerd? What if they're a nerd who also
A
played a
geek.
sport and was also really cool,
They're not
and
nerd, they're a
they're
geek.
just winning. They're just winning their whole life.
oh, they are. I'm just more throwing it out there to those people who are like, oh, I don't fit in. It's like, just go to college. It's like there's so many like little microcosms. Like you'll just be the cool one in your microcosm, like whatever. Like,
Well,
Yeah,
so what's
who
cool
cares?
too is if you live in California, you got to understand California is very clicky, man. I went up when I was up there with you up in Pullman. Dude, it was like everyone was cool with everyone. I
Yeah.
mean, there's definitely different cultures in different areas. When I went back to Berkeley, it was like immediately there were little cliques everywhere, little circles of people talking on the corner, hanging out. I was like, it's like I'm back in high school. This sucks ass.
Yeah.
But no, so get rid of the cliques. That was cool. I enjoyed that up at Washington State, and yeah, just if you're smart, man, you can definitely leverage yourself. You can be better. Make your line longer.
How many more chapters we got here?
Yeah,
A fine. So
I think we're good. So here's the most important one. Do not disturb. Did you guys? I told you about this one. I told you about this chapter before we started. Did you guys were you disappointed?
The yawning is infectious at this point. Matt, give us the what is it? Give us the preface here.
Hey, conquer haste, Tom. Conquer haste. Discipline and strength. When you're ready to open it,
Hey,
do it
Junior,
gently.
come on.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay. Do not disturb. So, the author, Joe, was telling Bruce Lee and another guy, Sterling Silliphant, they were sitting in the back of Joe's house in his backyard, and they were all drinking juice. And he said they always had conversations just about pretty much anything. So one time they were talking about the difference between spending time and wasting time. And Bruce was the first to kind of pipe up when someone asked the question, well, what's the difference? He said when you spend time, you do so in a specified manner. He said, but when you waste time, you expend it thoughtlessly or carelessly. He said, we have the decision to. No, Siri, I didn't say your name. He said, we have the decision to either spend or waste our time, but the important thing is once that time has passed, we can never get it back. Time for all of us is the most precious commodity, and we all need to accept that. And then Sterling went on and he said, yeah, I said, when I do projects, maybe we should look up who Sterling Silverfant was exactly. I don't know exactly what he did. But, he said when he was doing projects and talking to people, and he said he only did so if it was worth his time, if he was spending it, in a way that he enjoyed it. He said if someone wasted his time, if a project wasted his time, he didn't do it. And he went on a little tangent about that. And so, Bruce thought about this, and he said, hey, excuse me, I need to go take a phone call. He went up, he took a phone call, came back, and they said, oh, what happened? He said, I canceled an appointment I had with a guy. He was going to waste my time. So, what I got from this was, it's everyone has friends and acquaintances. Everyone has people in their lives. Everyone does things, whether that be a job or, a hobby that we don't enjoy, that is toxic, that wastes our time, that we spend unhappily and we can never get that time back. Would you rather spend your time in a happy way or waste it? That's the real question. And once you understand that again, that we only have one life to live and you might as well experience as much as possible while you're living, what are you going to do? You're going to spend it? Or you're going to waste it? What are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah. Tom, you want to head this one off?
Well, we get together 3 nights a week, so definitely none of us are wasting each other's time. That's
Hey, speak for yourself. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Ooh.
No, Siri, I'm not talking to you. Go ahead.
Siri's wasting your time, bro.
I like Siri. She does good things. Like I can't screenshot because my off button is broken. So now I have to
buy
speak
another
Siri
phone.
No, dude, this works for me.
Oh my god, you speak like my dad. Oh yeah, I got the iPhone 5 here. It's from 7 years ago.
So while you guys are spending, how much does it cost? $900 for a new phone every time some little thing breaks. I'm over here using the same phone that I've been using for 3 years because it still works. Weird.
I'm the
$800 richer. I still have that money.
My company pays for my phone.
I have 2 phones. I have a work phone.
Yeah, but it's just like my normal phone. They just pay for it.
Must be nice.
Listen,
so Cedric, you don't have an argument anyway, man. If they pay for your phone, you can definitely get a new one. But if you had to pay for it yourself, what did you tell me? Didn't you tell me that you wanted to go to Jack in the Box or something? And you said millionaires don't go to Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
So what was the lesson in that story?
Yeah. What's
to just save money. That was the whole.
Save money. Save money. So if your phone works. If you have something that still works and is still getting the job done, you don't have to go out of your way to get a new iPhone or a new tool. You don't have to. They come out with a new phone every year.
I look at it as wasting my time. That's why, because this is a device that I use for a lot of stuff, and so I want it to work. I don't want it to waste my time, and that time just compounds over time. So it's like that's why if there's a major issue, like the back of my phone's actually cracked because. Like the new phone's backs are glass, but my my actual case, it covers the entire back anyway, so you can't actually see that it's cracked at all. So it's fine. Like I'm not just going to go replace the back glass.
Well, when I get a new phone
next year, I'll just.
This still works. It doesn't waste my time. Like I said, there's ways around it. It's a little annoying, but like I said, I just go to Siri. I say, "Hey Siri, can you screenshot this?" To which Siri actually just screenshot it on my phone. And I mean, it's that simple. So if it works, if it's not broken, don't fix it. It's not broken to the point where I need to fix it. Save money. People watching this. One person watching this, which is probably Tom. Save money.
The way I look at it is every time.
Invest money, actually. Invest money in assets.
Yep. Don't waste it on
We're
assets
not
that
financial
depreciate.
advisors. No. Okay, so the way I look at this chapter, the way I look at this kind of wisdom is every time that you're going to meet someone or converse with someone, you're investing your time, which should be valuable to you. And I think everyone should um, set a dollar amount in their minds of how much an hour of their time is worth.
Yeah.
I think that's something that a lot of people could benefit from.
You guys
Especially,
would owe me a lot of money.
Yeah, that puts the
Weirdo,
time
you a
very
lot of
high.
money?
Yeah, both of you would owe me a lot of money. That's how much my time is worth. That's how much an hour. We've done 2 hours now. Owe me a lot of money.
You are
I
pretty
mean, I would
expensive
say
an
it's
hour.
actually negative dollars, Matt. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
You pay us, we don't pay you. Tom, wouldn't you agree?
We're paying each other in wisdom and friendship.
Yep. So Tom agreed with me. Negative dollars. You owe me and Tom $30 each.
With
Actually,
interest.
sorry, it's 33.46, but I didn't want to, split hairs. So
Time is the
33.46
most
each.
I'll give you
valuable.
$30 if you invest in a penny stock with me.
$30,000.
Tom, go go ahead, man. Elaborate on your thoughts.
No, I basically said it. Every time you're investing in somebody, you're investing in a specific person. You're investing in relationships, and you should set dollar amounts. I'm getting my business started, and my hourly rate for work is 16 hours, just me right now. So if you're gonna go spend 5 or 6 hours with somebody, and they're not generally worth what you could be doing, like another elsewhere. Like it's not like work 24/7. You shouldn't do that. That's not healthy. You should live a balanced life. But at least having like a
Mm-hmm.
running dollar amount in your mind, just so you could roughly compare the value of the relationships around you versus what you perceive your time to generally be worth. And if they're providing that value, helping you think, sort through your issues, your problems, and vice versa, two-way street. And like right now, we're all talking together right now. We've started this little show. We're all exchanging ideas. We're reading books. We're learning. We're building. We're growing, and that's worth it. That's definitely worth it to me. Uh, and but so many people out there, they lose money basically on a deal. It's toxic. It's hurtful. It's it's yeah. It's that's exactly what it is. It's just toxic. And if would you pay money to keep that friendship? No, probably not. So yeah, that's how you gotta think of it.
Top the haters. It's in the name. What are your thoughts? That's you, Ted.
Oh, I forget that I'm about the hitters. Yeah, so the wasting time thing. The way I took it was like, I mean, yeah, there's the whole phone call thing, but I mean, there's a certain amount that you can take from that, but I almost feel like not even the phone call thing. I feel like when I took it, it's very much like in my moment. It's like understanding that what I'm doing currently is providing me value. And I mean, there's that, if it's not at all, then don't do it. But understanding that what you're doing has a purpose, has value, and that you aren't wasting your time. And I think part of that just comes with giving whatever you're doing purpose. Like if you get up and eat breakfast and you're like, well, it's fucking shitty eggs, whatever. But if you get up and have the same breakfast, nothing else changes, but you look at it as, hey, I'm fueling my body to start the day. This is my favorite breakfast. I've been looking forward to this. I've always wanted this when I was a child growing up. Then you're adding so much value to that said breakfast. So you take every single bite, it tastes that much better. You're that much, in a better. I think that's true for everything. It's like when I was in high school, I loved these G2 pens. Like these were like the coolest pens. They just were actually black because I hated normal pens because they weren't really black. Like these are truly black. And I also liked
Yep.
the 10 one
Yeah.
as well. And now I'm at a point where it's like this is basically the only pen I use. And like now I see so much value in the pen, but after a while, that value dips off, and now I feel like the pen's just a waste. It's just a thing. But when I assign that value to it, when I'm seeing value in it, then I make myself more enriched and really see my own life in a better light. Which that's how I took it. I don't necessarily think that was totally his point, but that's kind of the value I took from it.
Yeah, I mean, you're enriched if you spend it well, right? But you gotta make sure that what you're doing is spending it well, right? You gotta make sure that you're on top of it, because if you know if it's wasting your time, if it's leading to a negative, it's probably wasting your time.
Yeah.
And I guess a good way to think about it is, write down. This is actually Tom's idea. We talked about it on our last practice podcast, but write down the benefits that you get out of working with people. Do a pros and cons for everything. Do a pros and cons for everything, whether it's a new job, whether it's working with people, whether it's a friend, or if you have any questions about something, do pros and cons. If there are more cons, or if the cons are worse than the pros, it's probably not a good idea, right? Sometimes you got to take a risk, but if it's blatantly worse than it is good for you,
you should definitely try to make sure bets as much as possible. Do things with knowledge, and try to have as much information as possible, but don't let the pursuit of knowledge keep you from taking action. And what I mean by that is, don't stay in one place waiting for all the facts. Like, you do have to take action. You do. But definitely do the pros and cons for everybody, so you actually have that knowledge and you can act on that knowledge. Because if you just have a feeling about things all the time, then that's just a feeling. Feelings change in the moment. If you actually write things down, they're a lot more tangible. They're a lot more relative. Not relative, just real. And you see, there's now a tangible, you've written down your thoughts, your pros and cons. And you're like, wow, like, I truly see this now. Like, this is, my thought is in the real world here. I've written it down. I see that this is hurtful. This is toxic. This is not worth my time. And you cut those relationships out, and as much as it may hurt in the second, that's like a Band-Aid. As soon as it's off, it's so much better.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to take a second to step back and look at things. And actually, that leads us into the next chapter. Active inactivity. That was a great lead-in, Tom. Thank you for setting me up. That was pretty great. Active inactivity. So
Matt,
at the beginning of the chapter.
Matt, what chapter are we on here?
Active inactivity.
But what chapter number out of all the ones we're going to talk to you about tonight?
Probably 12.
12 out of 14?
12, 14. Yeah.
Well, I recommend maybe we do this a 3-parter instead of just doing 2.
Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, actually, we have 4 left. Yeah. Do you guys want to cut it off right now? It's been 2 hours.
Two solid hours
right there.
of our first podcast. It seems to have gone off extraordinarily well. I'm thrilled tonight.
All thanks to Stop the Haters.
Stop the Haters is all Cedric. Thank you.
No, Stop the Haters.
And
if anyone was wondering or still considering it, stop considering it. You got to go reach out to Thomas Sterling. He will put his contact information somewhere to where you can find it. I can't speak for him.
Yeah, it'll be in the link description below.
Yep. And then
he's actually available 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I'm not going to sleep.
Contact him in the middle of the night, though. You want to get him in the middle of the night because that's when he's the most active.
All customers, large or small. He works with everybody. He has a diverse network and a diverse portfolio. So make sure to get him while you still can.
Different ages, genders, races, all very diverse. We love them all. Thomas Sterling does.
Yep. All types of business models would work extremely well for you.
Yeah, I'm very tempted to do it myself. But so Stop the Haters. We're already doing it. Everyone jump on the bandwagon. Do it because it's cool. No, you want to do it because you want to. Because he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's a great guy to work with. You'll love it.
Do it because you know it's the right decision for your business, and you know it's going to provide greater value than you could yourself, and far exceed the cost that you're having to pay.
That's right. That's right. Alrighty, gentlemen.
Yeah, well, subscribe to the like button as well as the subscription button to the channel. Links down to Zen and the martial arts in the description below. We will also have our very own website up soon, where we'll be hosting
Mhm.
our own content, building out an email list, building a community, as well
Yep.
as we're going to be on a ton of platforms, and I'll have the links for those shortly.
Oh yeah, and you're gonna find all the notes that I take. I don't know if Thomas and Chedrick are writing them down too, but you're gonna have kind of like a Spark Notes. So if you ever wanted kind of a summary of these books that we're reading, just go to the website. We'll have a section for each of the books that we read, and you can look through a little summary. You can
Beautiful.
either say, "Hey, this makes sense," or "Matt, you need to work on your writing." And you know what? Both are probably true, but it's gonna be good.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, guys.
Fantastic
Thomas,
evening.
don't
Great first
don't
stream.
Thomas, don't sign off of here. We'll talk once we're done here. But when you end the stream, we'll keep talking. All right,
Sounds
guys.
good.
Been a lot of fun.